Welcome to a short preview of this Screencasts Online video tutorial. The underlying camera software was updated in iOS 12, as well as hardware improvements to the iPhone XS and XS Max. In this tip video, I'll cover the main features of all of the most recent iPhone cameras and touch on some of the new features specifically for the iPhone XS and XS Max. In fairness, the camera itself, the camera software, hasn't changed significantly within iOS 12. We have some new features such as Smart HDR and also some changes to portrait mode, but the operation of the camera is pretty much identical as it was before. But saying that, I'll revisit the camera and then I'll just point out those new features that we have for the newer iPhones. Now for this screencast, I'm going to use the built-in capture software within iOS 12 to capture the screen. This is an iPhone XS Max. So let's go ahead and open the camera application. Now I've set this up, again, I hate doing live camera work because it's hard to keep the camera still, and it's also, my office is very messy, so I don't like doing it on my desk. So I've come into the conservatory, I put my iPhone XS Max on a stand, and I'm just shooting this figurine, one of the terracotta warriors. So I've got a fair bit of depth here. I've got the couch behind, I've got the window behind that as well. But let's just go through each camera mode and take each one in turn. So the first is time-lapse. Now, as with all the camera modes, I can tap on the screen to select the focus. So I'll tap on the face to select the face, and then I can also change the brightness by moving the slider up and down with my finger. Let's leave it about there. Now to get auto exposure and autofocus lock, if you just tap and hold on a particular part of the screen, and we have lock for automatic exposure and automatic focus. But I'll just tap away from there. Now because this is a dual lens camera, I can tap on the 1x and that will zoom me into 2x, and tap again to bring me out. Now there is no control within time-lapse, I either have 1x or 2x. Now to start the time-lapse, I just tap on the red circle and the time-lapse recording will start. Now obviously it's not really worth doing it on this particular subject because nothing is moving, so I'll just tap it again to stop. That's just a quick preview of one of this week's Apple-related tutorials from Screencasts Online. Screencasts Online is your premium source of Apple-related video tutorials. All of our members get access to brand new, up-to-date tutorials each week, as well as unlimited access to our entire video archive full of Mac and iOS-related tutorials. You can stream and download all of our videos on your Mac, iPad and iPhone, and even your Apple TV using the members-only Screencasts Online Apple TV app. Membership also includes a complimentary subscription to the digital Screencasts Online monthly magazine, published each month and packed with videos, articles, reviews, as well as hints and tips covering all aspects of the Mac, iPad, iPhone, and all of the other fantastic Apple products. So, if you're ready to start getting the most out of your Apple devices, visit ScreenCastsOnline.com today and become a Screencasts Online member.